welcome here to East Jackson High School in Commerce, Georgia. Appreciate you joining us here on SUVtv. I'm here courtside Marcus Burnett with Brandon Clay. Moments away from tip-off, Miller Grove taking on East Jackson. Brandon, glad to have you here, man.
Oh, man, it feels like we never left. Right back here on the microphone. Another high school season here upon us, and a great one to start it off. You could say a scrimmage, but I don't think this is going to look like a scrimmage, man. You know, Veterans Day 2, everybody's fired up and ready to get down, man. Let's get it rocking.
Much respect to those that have served our country. We're going to take a second for the national anthem and to recognize them on site when we get back from this commercial break. More from Commerce, Georgia, Miller Grove versus East Jackson. And welcome back here to East Jackson High School in Commerce.
Atmosphere is outstanding. As you see Gilbert with the basketball in the corner, great kick. And I think as you see Gilbert turn and have a couple of words with the crowd is engaged. This is exactly what you want. If you're David Boyd, the head coach at East Jackson, it's why you go and you bring Miller Grove in for this game. You've got one of the youngest, more talented teams in the state, and you want to give them an early challenge that doesn't go against your record one way or the other. You go get Miller Grove, and that's how you get it done. Miller Grove looks great early, but East Jackson not bowing down. Been a great ebb and flow here through the first 4 minutes of the game.
We've got a 12-7 ball game here early on. So we're going to have a couple Miller Grove substitutions. East Jackson will have it there along the baseline.
Well, and I would expect that you'll see quite a bit of kids play on both sides, probably a little deeper into the bench for Miller Grove because they do have the experience in that front five, you know, with Gilbert leading the way, you know, a Tay Hardy there on the wing, Aaron Augustine as well at the guard spot, even though this is his first year at Miller Grove, senior in high school, so accustomed to playing on big stages like this, whereas with what Boyd is doing at East Jackson, you're introducing a Lamont Smith tonight. You're introducing a Travis Anderson. This is a little bit different of a stage in terms of playing against a team with the power of a Miller Grove.
You know, talk with Coach Boyd pre-game. He still feels like his team wasn't ready, relatively speaking, for the challenge that they would have tonight, but also knew that this is the type of game that will help them get ready. You mentioned those different experience levels. What better way than baptism by fire here against a six-time state champion to open the scrimmage season?
Well, and David Boyd is a bright individual. You know, this is not his first trip around the block. He is very aware of the things that he was able to do at Berkmar and then at Milton, you know, during my time frame covering the sport here inside of the state, dating all the way back to Tony Aiken at Berkmar. And this is how you get it done. You got to start to play these types of games to give your kids the opportunity to feel what it's like, understand what it's like, and give yourself a little bit of tape in the process to go back and teach off of.
That three-point attempt was long, and it's going to lead to a quick pass outside and a layup drill for Augustine. And Augustine comes right back and forces a turnover. So it goes right back to Miller Grove. 7-14 is your score, and we're going to have a timeout.
Well, you see Boyd take the 32nd there, and good move. This game is going to be fast. It's going to be a frenetic in terms of the pace, in terms of what you're seeing. This is exactly what you want when you start to build out the train of thought, though, for Miller Grove as you prepare for the year now. Now you're rolling, and you've got the pressure up already. You've got the intensity up already. All the things that you look for and that you want, you have going already early in the season, and you haven't played a regulation game. So you're willing to make the trip from Lithonia to Commerce, Georgia, to get a good test and a good opponent with East Jackson and be able to get your season off to a good start.
They say you learn something new every day. I think we all learned coming into this week the official city that East Jackson was located in. Everybody knew East Jackson, but a ton of conversation on, you know, what city is it in? It's in Commerce, Georgia, and we're glad to be here tonight as Drinnon steals it away for East Jackson.
Well, I actually had the opportunity to, Drue Drinnon was at our EBA Top 40. As you see the Lamont Smith there that I mentioned, transferred from Beaufort High School. They had a coaching change in the offseason. He came over here to East Jackson. Same thing with Travis Anderson, Holy Innocents, Grayson, and now here.
Answering right back, Colin Young there. You speak of a transfer, the Laney transplant in with his first bucket of the game.
Well, and we talked about, as we're going to get a backcourt violation here on East Jackson, we talked about Young's ability to make shots. And right away he catches it and he makes a shot. That's going to be a big addition. It's going to be a great addition, him and then Aaron Augustine as well, for this Miller Grove team this year as they look to add another ring to the collection there in Lithonia.
Young, a member of that Laney squad that was one of the better teams in the state, had their championship host thwarted by Tukey Brown and Morgan County last year, trying to see if he can help Miller Grove get their 7th and 8th seasons. Stolen away. Here comes Drinnon. Drinnon defended well on that play by Miller Grove. No soup. They'll push it the other way. Here's Young. Bobbled initially. Gather doesn't produce any points on the first shot, but Raylon Richardson going to go to the line.
One of my favorite players from last high school season, talked about him coming out of that Lighthouse Classic, Marcus, that we covered there in Corinth, Mississippi. Big shout out to Gary Caveness and everybody there with Lighthouse. Miller Grove will be back again this year. Richardson just does all the things that you would want a guy in his position to do. A little bit of production on the glass, a little bit of production in transition, a little bit of production in the half court. And when you put that final stat line together, it looks really good. You know, it's 10 and 7 and 5, or it's 12, 6 and 3. You know, every single night he's coming out with a nice stat line as he closes out a night.
Young with the offensive rebound, trying to go to work, muscles it in. So we saw the jumper from the outside. There a little bit of a helmet and lunch bell play on the inside for Colin Young.
And that's big. If he'll bring that to this Miller Grove roster, it's only going to help him. We talked about his ability to score it and the ability to knock down the open jumper. But obviously, if he'll play that way around the rim, that type of energy and intensity and even bring them 6 or 7 more rebounds a game, a couple on the offensive end and then a handful on the defensive end, it's going to make this team better and more prepared come March.
Ball's loose. Gonna be tipped around. Now Jackson gonna bring it the other way. Smith loses the handle, gathers it. Can't get the shot to go. Here's Augustin. Richardson reversing, and he's fouled on the play. He'll have to go to the line to shoot 2. Substitution coming in for East Jackson is going to be number 23, Andrew Scott.
It looks like they got him for shuffling his feet there before the foul call. So that's going to be a turnover there on Miller, Grover, and Richardson. Well, when you see Miller Grove push it, they really force you to have to be able to make shots from the outside. They play so fast and so hard defensively in terms of your intensity, Marcus. And what they bring to the table is we see Gilbert check back in. And again, Coach White is going to be able to throw multiple bodies at you in waves. You know, so one here, one there. And now with the compliments of Augustine and Gilbert, there's going to always be a dominant senior guard on the floor who can score it but also set your offensive tempo when need be.
I think one thing, you look at Miller Grove over the past couple years, obviously they've always had that winning formula of the defense that they play. The offensive tools kind of vary depending on the season and the personnel, but I think now Alterique Gilbert has more compliments on the offensive end than he's had over the past couple years.
Agree completely, and he's got a guard in Augustine that honestly is one of the best in the state, if not the region, on the board as we go in. Oh, great pass there from Drinnon. Everything but the completed play there. Walters missed it, but then gets the on rebound, kicks it back out to Anderson, and Anderson knocks out the 3. They're going to get Page for a hold and give them the ball.
So they're going to count the bucket.
They're going to count the basket, and it's going to be white ball underneath. The 3 is good. That's a huge possession opportunity for as many as 5 or 6. The miss, no big deal. Stay right with it. Anderson right in the rhythm. The tray ball all the way from Grayson, Georgia.
Brought to you there via the CBA Sports Instant Replay. Travis Anderson.
Oh, they're playing
Rolling
hard.
Around, getting the home roll.
Hey, Walters gets it back. Walters going to be like, hey, Coach, I missed it on purpose so we could get the 3 and my tip in, man. We're good, Coach. No big deal.
Hey, all's fair. Cancels out that missed flush. We're under a minute. Alterique Gilbert brings it out of that corner. Now they give him too much space in his opinion.
Oh, my goodness. Great. Come on. Well, and that's why this young man has an opportunity in next spring to be a 2-game All-American. You know, McDonald's and Jordan, I watched him play out at USA Basketball at the mini camp there in October, going up against some of the best nationally. He just does a little bit of everything. You know, you saw him measure the D. They gave him a little space. He looked and said, I don't know why they gave me a little space, and then he made him pay for giving him a little space.
Yeah, I was kind of one of those. Look, I don't mind moving the ball around, but let's not get crazy here.
Did y'all forget who I am? I just signed to UConn this morning, Chief.
As George Wilson checks into the game, number 11 there for Miller Grove. Gilbert's going to have a seat. 33.3 seconds remaining here in the first quarter.
Well, and there's the kicks again. You know, we talked about Drinnon and those guys being unselfish. Anderson tried to make it happen there. Great save by Drinnon. East Jackson's really done a great job of matching Miller Grove's intensity and passion here in this first quarter. A lot of times Miller Grove, even if they're not firing on all cylinders, they can run you out of the gym early just because they play so hard. And that obviously has not been the case as we look at the score here late in the first. But now you've got to convert free throws and you've got to convert chip shot layups and open shots throughout the course of the game. Harder to do it for 32 minutes than it is to do it just for 8.
First free throw is good, and we talked about that pre-production there on the podcast. Obviously, it's a scrimmage game. It is early season, so while you know you're going to get into more of your mid-season form as time goes on, in terms of that intensity, matching the effort level, and just playing flat-out hard, that doesn't take a lot of weeks to settle into.
No question. Got a lane violation, 21. Looks like Walters was a little bit early, but I like this post tandem here of Walters and Andrew Scott, number 23. Maybe a little undersized, you know, in terms of, you know, your prototypical players at the 4 and the 5, but these guys are out there playing with heart and playing with energy. Great pass from Anderson. Xavier Clark there with the finish. What a great pass.
Tough shot from the corner there for Augustine, trying to beat the buzzer.
Well, and if you're East Jackson, that's a win. You know, in terms of growing your program, you see the instant replay here, the push in transition, change direction. Oh, give it to me. Yes, Xavier Clark with the feed from Anderson. And you see the expression from Anderson. He's hyped. He's ready to go. That's why he made the move here at East Jackson for nights like this.
Whoop, there it is, playing in the background. We'll be back after this commercial break. Back out of the timeout for the quarter break. It's 17-21 after that last bucket by East Jackson. Marcus Burnett joined by Brandon Clay. Appreciate you joining us here on SUVtv. Ball's bounced around, kick goes into the backcourt. Who was it touched by last? That was Saunders and Rico Hallman there in the mix. They're going to say off of Saunders' leg, so it will be East Jackson's ball there along the baseline. Drinnon to inbound. Gets it in just in time, but had a purple jersey with it temporarily. Anderson came away with it, but his shot no good.
Oh, great pass ahead.
Behind the defense, and that is none other than number 10, Naquante Hardy.
That's a great pass ahead there from Augustine to find Hardy. Yeah, make sure if you're at home, you follow, use that hashtag AskBClay. Reception a little shaky here in the gymnasium. If we're not able to get to you during the broadcast, we'll make sure we respond after the game here tonight.
Foul going to go against Miller Grove there. Coach White just making sure, trying to get an understanding. Knows that call is over with, but at this point, it's about that leverage and lobbying for that next one.
Well, and Sharman White does a great job coaching the USA Basketball during the offseason. There's a bunch of Nike coaching clinics. Miller Grove, a sponsored program there. Underneath the Nike brand, Tony Dorado and his staff do an outstanding job year in and year out and making sure that Miller Grove is well outfitted and equipped.
No good on the mid-range there is Hardy. Knocked out of bounds, last touch by East Jackson, so it will stick with Miller Grove. Lamont Smith checking back into the game. Xavier Clark will have a seat.
Well, now if you're East Jackson, you got to find a way to keep Miller Grove from having that spurt. They were able to call timeout there in the second quarter, or first quarter, excuse me, right there at the middle of the quarter and kind of deaden the run that was coming. Now can you continue to do that here throughout the course of this second quarter? Keep this thing within striking distance as you take it to the half if you don't lead going into the half break.
Anderson will bring it up.
Well, and you see this place is packed. People continue to stroll in. You got Gainesville head coach Benji Wood over there across from us. Everybody taking in the action. A lot of hype has been made about this East Jackson backcourt, and for good reason, as you're seeing it early.
That's going to be a layup drill for Frank the Tank Smith. Coming in, getting the layup. There off the Miller Grove bench. Trying to weave through traffic with Drinnon. He's going to have it poked away. Jackman
and
drops it off, and one scored.
That's a great move there by Tay Hardy. The body, the ability to take the bump and still finish. I think one of the things, Marcus, when you look at this East Jackson team, is not playing too fast. The Miller Grove will force you to do that. You're going to see in transition. You got a numbers game here. Defender commits. Great read there in transition. Forced that lead defender to commit. And when he did, it left Hardy wide open for the catch. By the time they tried to recover, it was too late.
That's a little bit of weight room work there, able to eat that contact and still finish that one.
That fella been working out with you, man.
Weight room paying dividends there for Miller Grove as it's a 17-28 advantage. Been great energy that East Jackson has matched for the most part up to this point. We'll see if they can respond here. Anderson trying to get another three-pointer. Silky smooth from three-point land.
When you see again the kick there, that was initiated by Drinnon. Oh, nice there by Miller Grove. Doesn't fall for Smith, but both sides doing a good job of moving the basketball.
Gilbert tries to get his second three of the game. No good. Jackman with the rebound in traffic.
That's what he does. That cat plays as hard as anybody in the state, Joshua Jackman does. On the Gilbert catch, I think he's got to go ahead and pull that first one, Marcus. He had a look and didn't take it. I think he's got to go ahead and make that happen.
Pass ahead. Saunders going to be fouled on the play. One of the reasons why he should probably take that initial look, Brandon, we look at another CBA Sports Instant replay from earlier in the first quarter.
Measure, measure, no one there, no one there. Buckets. UConn, Alterique Gilbert.
That's going to send Saunders to the free throw line. Checking back in for Miller Grove, number 14, Colin Young, number 4, Raylon Richardson. In for East Jackson, number 15, Josh Goodrich. I believe number 23, Andrew Scott, checked back in as well.
Well, and this is where, you know, with the Goodrich for Walters substitution, because Walters has done a good job on the interior of forcing Miller Grove to have to play outside. He's not giving that space up in the half court. Can Goodrich do the same thing? Oh, great move there by Drinnon and the great kick. Look at this. That's exactly the type of basketball you want, and they've got the crowd, even though they're down 10. This crowd is very much pro East Jackson.
Foul on the play. They're going to count the three ball, it looks like.
They're going to get Richardson for the foul under the rim, but they are going to count the three. The three was released before the foul, and it'll be East Jackson basketball.
Aaron Augustin checking back in for Saunders for Miller Grove.
So that's an area of Gilbert's game that he has really refined and sharpened to the point now where every time he catches it, and you heard what I said even a minute ago, he should be looking to knock down the open jumper. If there's any space at all, go ahead and hit that, knock it down, and make a play on it. Force them to guard you.
You look at what Coach Ollie is getting in an Alterique. It's hard not to think about the revolving door of NBA players that have come through there from the guard position, whether it's a Kimball Walker, a Ben Madison Square Gordon from back in the days where he used to tear it up in the Big East tournament.
The like 38 overtime game, man, they kept me up till 2 in the morning. I had a meeting the next day at 8 o'clock. I'm upset about it. I'm not upset about it, but I am upset about it, man. There's some sleep sitting on the table from some years back. Kimba owes me. Yeah, not to mention Shabazz, and just they've done a great job of developing players. I know sitting with Ricky Moore on a couple different occasions, Anderson makes that free throw. One of the things that they really stress, and I talked with OnTheRadarHoops.com director and owner Sean Williams about this as well. UConn really stresses the development in their guards and in the skill sets and continuing to just supply them with the confidence to go out and be big time. And those are the kind of shots you want him taking. You know, it doesn't go, but that's, you know, free throw break 1, as we used to call it in high school. Literally, it was FTB 1, FTB 2 meant that we got another screen off for the second one there, but you run it, pitch it down the side. Once you establish the side, your best three-point shooter, in this case Gilbert, immediately sprints corner and takes one.
Foul on the play, penalty situation, so East Jackson will go to the line. Drue Drinnon went to the line for the 1-and-1 a few minutes back, was unable to get that front end. I think if you're East Jackson, you got to be able to take advantage of those free throw opportunities.
No question. What's the way you're going to stay in this game? You know, we talked about free throws, as unfortunately shot missed. We talked about free throws, layups, and then again being able to hit those open pitch-out shots. Those are the shots, because they're not going to be able to post entry tonight. They're not going to be able to use that as a weapon on this particular evening. They've got to find a way to make the shots that they manufacture. This is a manufactured shot, this free throw is. They've got to find a way to convert once they manufacture the energy.
Drinnon good on the second. So it's a 10-point deficit. We've got just under 5 minutes remaining here in the second quarter. Young, free throw line jumper, can't get it to go. Follows his own shot, chases down the long rebound. Now up top, Hardy, he hasn't been shy about it, can't get that one to fall, and Goodrich with the rebound initially.
Well, and that's 2 rebounds already for Goodrich. Like I said, that was going to be something to kind of keep an eye on here.
As Richardson and Gilbert converge there on Anderson along the baseline. Anderson wanted a foul call there, nothing coming. So Miller Grove's ball right there along the baseline. Gilbert will throw it in. Foul on the floor as Gilbert was tight roping the baseline. It's going to send him to the line. 1-1, 17 fouls now against East Jackson.
This is a big-time atmosphere.
Yeah. This is not a scrimmage game atmosphere, man.
The crowd has slowly trickled in, and it's been happening since the opening tip, but this is the student section for East Jackson. Impressive. Just the number, once again, for a air quote scrimmage, you know, to be able to get that amount of kids out there. And they've been locked in, and they're giving Alterique Gilbert and Augustine everything they can handle, yelling at them, screaming at them. Gilbert airballed that one a minute ago. They immediately hit the airball chant. It's a great way to start the season, Marcus.
It's what we've all been waiting for, man, this season to get going. What better one than this initial matchup? Drinnon gets it to Anderson. Anderson working, floats it up. Can't get the roll. Goodrich with another rebound.
There it is, and if Goodrich can give them these type of minutes where they can sit and rest Walters, as you get into the season now, there aren't going to be a lot of teams that they face that have the backcourt perimeter play that they do with 2 or 3 guys in Scott, Walters, and Goodrich who can give them some quality minutes on the interior rebound in the basketball.
Colin Young with another strong bucket inside. We take a look at this CBA Sports instant replay just to see the effect that he's bringing early on for Miller Grove.
Well, you see him right there with the open jumper, 2 feet set, knocks it down. Interesting is he got a little hitch in the shot right there where he almost lets it go by his eye, but it's smooth. You know, it's the same shot every time, and I've said that since the days of Reggie Miller, right? If somebody's got a hitch, but it's the same hitch, and they shoot it well, then it's an okay hitch. You can take it and you can work with it.
Anderson stops and pops. Goodrich trying to get that rebound, going to have it poked out of his arms, so it will stay on that side. 25-37 after that 3-point play the hard way.
Here the special situation coming in from Coach Boyd, a little box set here. And just take it and throw it to the safety valve, Drinnon.
His elbow jumper, no good. Richardson boxing Goodrich out there on that one. And here comes Miller Grove the other way.
Tough finish, Hardy one. Miller Grove's secondary guys play so well that it allows Gilbert to just be himself. Doesn't have to force the issue in terms of shots. You even see him pass up a couple to keep those guys fed. Drinnon and Anderson as well have had to push the issue, force the issue just a little bit to try to get themselves some shots and keep East Jackson in this game from a scoring perspective, which is great teaching tool material when you go back to Coach Boyd now. Okay, listen, this is what we want. This is what we're getting. How do we get what we want?
Pass intended for Goodrich. Looked like Richardson got a hand on it. Eagles ball on the baseline is number 12, Aiden Saunders, set to check in for Miller Grove. He'll come in for Naquante Hardy. Anderson to throw it in.
Well, as you can see, Miller Grove has done a great job defensively on those special situations. They are forcing everything back into the backcourt. They're not letting anything enter there in the half court near the baseline. Great move there by Drinnon.
Just somehow he got that 23-7 as a freshman there last season for East Jackson. Goodrich comes up with the steal, now hands it to Smith. Smith looking to finish, and one. Student section feeling it.
They got the flag out and everything. I'm telling you, man, this place, do not let these guys be within single digits of striking distance come the fourth quarter and make a play or two. This place is ready to erupt. East Jackson has not seen basketball on this level, and honestly, from a county-wide perspective, Jackson County has not seen the level of basketball that David Boyd is accustomed to coaching. And please believe there's not going to be anything less than what David Boyd's accustomed to coaching being coached out here over the next 2 or 3 years.
Number 25 for Miller Grove, Twan Seals, checks into the game.
When we talked about Miller Grove playing a lot of guys, and they've really run through the entire roster, getting everybody some minutes here early.
Augustin for three. Can't get it to go. Young has been eating offensive glass. He'll have his third trip to the line.
Well, and that's where they've been so effective against East Jackson, especially when Andrew Scott has to check out. It becomes the second post player, the four-man, that really has been able to take advantage of the matchup or lack thereof to keep them off of the glass and make some things happen, or even in transition. That's really where they've been able to get their points on the interior.
Young couldn't get the first one to go. Second one on the way, and it's good. Anderson will bring it across. 10-point game, 2 minutes, 44 seconds and counting left to play here in the first half.
They ran a nice little double down screen there for Drinnon to try to get him some space. The timing of it didn't work to get him the pass, but he gets himself open there with the change of direction. Nice three on the little clap to himself, trying to get himself going there.
Use that nice little finish on the inside, comes back, follows it up with the three. So he'll make it a 7-point game. That's Young wide open in the corner. No good on the shot. Smith battling for the rebound. Comes away with it. Ahead to Drinnon. Drinnon lost the handle temporarily, but still holds on to it. Call for the double dribble. Can't say I saw it there, man. They're definitely not giving them any home cooking, man. There was that call.
A little like tried to make a little hesitation move. Defender was right there, so honestly looked like it could have been deflected there. Maybe even a piece of his arm. Something happened, but, you know, man, hey, it's preseason for everybody, man.
Man, in the words of Mark Wahlberg off the other guys, I'm a peacock, man. You got to let me fly, man. You know what I'm saying? You got to let Drue Drinnon fly out here.
Oh, there it is. He got a chance right here in the open floor again, Marcus, which is where you want him with the basketball right now.
Tough shot there at the free throw line. Gilbert snatches the rebound out of the air. They're going to take it all the way. Avoids the charge that was being set up there by Drinnon. Still on the boards. They're playing volleyball on the inside as Miller Grove, and finally Anderson able to wrestle it away.
And the crowd roars with every play right now as this game continues to get a little closer and a little closer. Deficit right now at 7. Anderson, and once again, we go back to free throws. If he can convert, take it to 5.
We got a CBA Sports instant replay.
You see Drinnon there with the change of direction. Give it to me there. Nice little hop. Extra step, finish. Tough play there to draw the defender, get him up in the air because he has to respect the fact that Drue can attack the rim and finish it with either hand. Once he leaves the ground, Drue steps through, and a nice play to finish that basket and get the lead back inside of 10.
Still a 7-point game. 1 minute, 20 seconds remaining here in the second quarter. Anderson good on the second free throw. 6-point difference, and we've got a double dribble.
Great play over there by Smith. Smith anticipated that pass. Gilbert was ready to throw it, saw Smith in the lane and tried to bring it back down real quick, but the referee called him. And this officiating crew has done a good job in the first half of what is a high-octane game. I've got to give them credit. When you're on pace, you know, for one team to score 80 and the other to score 70 in the first game of the season, you know, and there have been maybe a call or two, but for the most part, they've done a good job of just keeping this game locked in and manageable. Big shot there by Drinnon is going to cut this thing to 3.
Locked in, so the 3 ball's manageable there for Drinnon as he makes it 37-40.
Ooh. Allow me to reintroduce myself.
And then you're going to have a turnover there by East Jackson as it looked like number 5, Demarion Knox, might have stepped over the line.
He did, rushed it a little bit there. Well, it's interesting now as you get into the end of the first half and you kind of get a feel for what guys are doing in the pace of this game. And we talked about, the officiating, but I think that goes for the players too. Who is able to do what in this type of scenario. And really, really liked on the East Jackson side, in addition to obviously Drinnon, Anderson, and Smith, Scott and Walters gave them real big boy minutes on the inside. So be interesting to see if they go that route in the second half, because when Scott's able to play and give them minutes, they've been able to keep Miller Grove off of the glass.
Speaking of big boy minutes, a big boy bucket on the other side there for Frank Smith.
The tank. And both teams now in the bonus to close out the half. Double bonus here for East Jackson, a chance for Smith to convert again. Miller Grove takes the lead from 3, right back to 7.
Smith has been a positive here as well here in this game.
Oh, speaking of body, contact, still with the finish. Lamont Smith showing why we talked about him right here at the top of the broadcast. He definitely is a playmaker alongside Drinnon and Anderson for this East Jackson team.
Cluster of playmakers on both sides. Part of why it was such an intriguing matchup for us to make it out here. Offensive rebound after that miss.
And there's Walters again, and he has the length and the size, even when Page is on the floor for Miller Grove, or a bigger guy like a Frank Smith. He got the size to be able to make some plays. East Jackson will hold here for the last shot, try to get this thing to 5 or underneath that.
Drinnon hesitates, now goes. Good defense there, but he's going to stay with East Jackson. He'll have one more shot at it.
You notice George Wilson was guarding him there. He didn't go for that same fake that Augustine went for a minute ago. That was the same dribble hard left, shot fake, try to step back to your right. They took that one away. And now with 2.2, we talked about East Jackson struggling to convert these special situations. Here's one.
Anderson cannot get the shot to go. So that's going to send us into halftime with a 37-44 score. We go into halftime with Drue Drinnon representing on his home floor. A little bit of confusion there. That's more than enough time for him to knock it down from the top of the key. Ice cream, Drue Drinnon here in East Commerce. We'll be back after this halftime break.
It was effortless to me. The follow through. There were days that I couldn't even get the ball to the rim. There were days that I couldn't go outside of the paint area. It was very frustrating to not be able to shoot the way that I wanted to. The hardest part of that process was definitely the patience, but if I just stuck to getting better every day, eventually I would be able to shoot where I wanted to, anywhere on the floor. I went through some tough days, but found a way to just persevere and see it through. It starts with a great base and great foundation and allows everything to feel perfect. I can do all things.
Seconds away from getting the second half started here. Miller Grove versus East Jackson, the Wolverines visiting, but with a 7-point advantage as we get ready to go into the second half, and it looks like we are underway. Marcus Burnett joined by Brandon Clay. Thanks for joining us here at Travis Anderson. Doesn't take him long to get going early.
David Boyd with the Kobe Bryant fist pump over here on the sideline. He's ready, man. Great call coming out of the halftime there with the action to get Anderson a clean look, and then Anderson delivers with the jumper.
You know, when you look at Coach Boyd, he's been around, this isn't his first rodeo. He talked about how he felt like his players still has some learning to do, still want to get to midseason form, even though they're just starting the season. But also, there's a part of him that knows the talent that he has and wants to try to coach them to a win here tonight.
Oh, no question. This would be, you know, obviously you want to compete, but yo, there are no more victories, man.
Yeah.
What's the J line? More victories than for minor league coaches, man. There's no more victories out here tonight. You want to come away with a W in your pocket, man, but this is a great atmosphere and not something that happens here at East Jackson every day. So they've done a great job of making this thing happen and have done a great job of competing in this game, man. That little run we talked about, Marcus, at halftime, where Boyd called the timeout at the 4-minute mark. That very well could have gone the other way for East Jackson. It could have opened up an early double-digit lead for Miller Grove. East Jackson has been able to kind of hunker down and play here.
Jackman picking up the pieces on the offensive glass there to make it 49-40.
Well, and that's the tough part with Miller Grove, whether it's Hardy, whether it's Jackman, they rebound the basketball so well from the guard/forward position. Tough take there by Drinnon. Look at Walters on the interior, though, working hard. This young man is one for us to keep an eye on. He plays hard. He's given them some great minutes against a very talented Miller Grove front line here.
Anderson will throw it in there along the baseline. Knocked out of bounds, looked like last touch by Kevin Page.
I had to slide out there for a second during the halftime break, man. Get on the phone call with, you know, ProspectsNation.com video coordinator Chris Watkins and assistant director of scouting, director of domestic scouting now, Jonathan Hemingway, as Drinnon hits that tough jumper there on the baseline, and make sure that they were tuned in to the broadcast. Both of them said they were locked in and watching. We appreciate those guys tuning in and checking it out.
Three from the corner, won't go. Eagles looking to run with it. Here's Drinnon. Fakes the pass, finishes with the left.
And we talked about that in the first half. It's one of the reasons he was able to sell that up fake. Tough shot there by Gilbert. Are you kidding me? Nice little side step into a jumper. Drinnon's going to have a chance to finish it here.
As you see Hardy. Hardy saying only so much that he'll let them do.
He's still talking. He's still talking. That's a great play on both counts, man. You see in the open floor, Drinnon with the side step, but the ability to change and finish with the left hand. That Ginobili with my left hand up play. Woo!
Seen plenty of that at those on-the-radar hoops events that Drinnon has been able to showcase that.
Had the opportunity to coach his team on one of those a couple years ago, man.
(45-49). 6 minutes exactly on the third quarter clock.
On a great start for both teams from a rhythm perspective here. Into the second half. Great move by Augustine there as he attacks, finishes in between two trees and gets to the rim there. Well, he split Walters and
Smith got further under the rim than he wanted to. Pass ahead. Easy lay on the other end for Augustine.
Well, and this is what you can't let Miller Grove do now. You can't let them go on a quick 6-0, 7-0, 8-2 type run. Put a little spurt together. You don't want to do that because now you dug yourself a hole. And right on cue, here we come with Jackson. 6-0 run.
All over the passing lane there.
David Boyd very smartly. We call these TV timeouts. In these TV games, you want to use timeouts a little differently to keep the run from expanding. You don't want to put yourself in a position where you're down 14 or 15 here in a minute. Just down 10, knowing good and well that you have the weapons to make a run where need be.
We had plenty of timeout or an intermission period there at halftime, so we'll keep it right here. Brandon, you look at this matchup, the potential it had coming in on both sides. Give us a comparison of what you thought coming in and what we've seen up at this point.
You know what? I thought coming in, talent to talent. You know, Miller Grove a little more seasoned, obviously, even with a new look roster in terms of the guys that maybe are going to deliver the plays for them, but they were still seasoned. East Jackson at times has played like a young team, but they've played like a young team that's really talented, right? So I think the projections were on for everyone. I know we talked about in the podcast the Brandon Clay report, Marcus. Backcourts inside the state, who we liked, why we liked them. Our guy Barry Browner with Georgia Hoop Circle talked a lot about East Jackson and the potential here. And I think that if not next season, definitely in 2 seasons, this is a backcourt that has the opportunity to be comparable to the one that they're playing tonight. So it's almost like looking yourself in the mirror, seeing yourself more mature.
Drinnon gets it across the timeline, going behind the back.
That young fella's a lot of fun to watch, man. Got the basketball on a string. Here comes Gilbert right back at you. Right back at you, young fella. And that's what I mean about looking in the mirror, seeing yourself more mature. You make a great play on one end. The 2-year older version of yourself comes right back down the floor and hits a 23-footer real calmly to be able to kind of deaden any hopes of starting or sparking a run there.
Foul on the play. Anderson and Smith converged there on that one.
Tough post feed there. Straight line post feed. Wow. Again, Walters there around the rim to clean up the Anderson miss. Great defensive play there by Gilbert to alter the first shot, but nobody from Miller Grove there to make sure to keep Walters' body off the glass. The second tip in that I can remember so far this game.
Gonna make it 49-58. That three-pointer silky there from Hardy.
Boy, if Hardy can hit that shot, even at a 33 to 35% clip this season, when you add in Gilbert and Augustine, they're going to be a real problem.
12-point game now, under the 4-minute mark. Anderson contested three-pointer. That one's short.
Pulled a Steph Curry there, kicked the legs out and everything, trying to draw the call on that three. Doesn't get it in Miller Grove. And now this is that danger zone. Almost identical in your time. I think in the first half it was 3:48, Marcus. Now it's 3:58. 3:48 here in the second half. And Boyd has put himself in a position where, unfortunately, you run out of timeouts that you can use. You got to pocket a couple of them, try to save them for the end of the game.
Hardy going to try to get another one there from almost the same spot. Another offensive rebound. It's easier said than done, but if you're East Jackson, you got to minimize those. They're going to make you pay more times than not if you give them extra cracks at it.
When it goes back to a body issue, you know, I thought Scott did a good job in the first half when he was in of serving as that second rebounder there. But who's going to step up in this five right now with Smith, Drinnon, Anderson, and Knox? In theory, you'd like for it to be Knox and or Smith because they're on the back of the zone. You don't want to have to ask Drinnon or Travis Anderson to come from guarding the top Miller Grove and have to rebound down. And that's exactly what I'm talking about there. There's Knox off the shot as the second rebounder. The way that the zone's being played, and it's a great adjustment there by Boyd to try to slow Miller Grove down in the half court. But Walters is not going to be your primary rebounder in the middle of the zone, especially with them shooting jump shots. It's going to come off left or right. Smith and or Knox have got to serve as that secondary rebounder for them right now.
Anderson short on that jumper along the baseline. Young with the rebound.
Good patience there by Gilbert. Had a decent look, but gave it up to go ahead and continue to keep playing. Great move there by Saunders.
Saunders makes it 49-63, and it's been great energy from the crowd this entire
That's a great defensive play there by Drinnon, but just a barrel by Jackman. Pound, look at even the coaches at Miller Grove just over there. They had to laugh at themselves. Nothing but power there from Jackman, playing hard, man.
And that's one of those 50-50 calls to where you're not sure whether it's truly a foul or whether the ref just says, man, I got to call something there.
Well, again, to speak to your point about the energy in here, that's just a great play given the energy, man.
50-50 ball. The Wolverines come away with it. Easy lay on the other end for Gilbert.
Interesting to watch Drinnon. We've talked about that sidestep move a couple of times now in the half court where he's trying to show it. Now it's a position where he's got to go ahead and score with the left hand one time. You know, he's shown it and tried to step back through a couple times. Look at Gilbert there on the break in transition with the quick pull-up. But Drinnon's got to go ahead and score that with his left hand to force the respect factor again. He's used the move a couple times. They don't have to respect it anymore because he's not going left.
Drinnon trying the three-pointer. Won't go. Saunders with the rebound.
I really like Aiden Saunders. A little different game, kind of unorthodox in terms of the way that it looks right as we're watching it. But he's been as effective as, say, a Colin Young who just finished there with the rebound and has helped stretch this game to 17 here real quick. We talked about runs, and there have been a series of those. The latest now, 7-0 in favor of Miller Grove.
30 seconds and counting on the third quarter clock. Anderson over to Smith.
Those are the shots you need from him. You need that third perimeter scorer on a night like this. Smith's been relatively quiet given the magnitude of the game. Has made a couple of plays here or there, but you need him to assert himself a little bit more if you have hopes of getting back into this game and leaving here with a victory tonight.
Behind the back, stopping at the free throw line there. There's
Great
Augustine.
defense. Great defense, that again. And I thought Drinnon did a good job on Gilbert as well in the isolation. That's about as well as you can defend those two guys into those sets, cleared space one-on-ones. You're seeing here now the push, looking to go end to end. Whoop, quick change. Drinnon up one more time. Gotcha. And the finish on the home floor for Drue Drinnon.
Ready to get the fourth quarter started. 14-point advantage now for the visiting Wolverines. East Jackson tried to end that third quarter on a positive note, a three by Smith. As we see Young trying to go to work for Miller Grove. He can't get the shot to go. And that's Knox with another rebound.
That was great action there. Strong side didn't work, so they immediately swing it to the weak side, but they had the post single isolation over there. So when they were able to make that entry pass, normally you're not a proponent of straight line entry feeds. But when it's a one-on-one play and the post plays on his back, it works out as that layup worked out there for George Wilson in transition.
Plenty of Wolverines getting involved in the act. Saunders has been solid off the bench. Wilson gets a bucket, trying to save it there successfully by Knox. He'll come back in and try a three off the back of the rim. Augustine with the rebound.
Well, and if you're East Jackson now, you don't want to get sloppy. You want to stay sharp and continue to keep working right now. Even though you're down 16, you want to continue to keep playing and make sure you give yourself every opportunity again to compete and then learn how to continue to get better even in these situations.
Man, it's a battle of attrition. You saw good energy early on, really being able to match what Miller Grove brought to the table, but as the game goes on, it's tough to keep all of those purple jerseys off of the glass and stay in front of the multiple threats out there on the floor.
Well, and I think from once again, a coaching tool perspective now, you're David Boyd and you're back in practice tomorrow, and imagine how much better practice is tomorrow, right, than it was yesterday. Maybe even walk through the day, you know, hey, now we've seen it. We've seen where we want to go, and we've seen, honestly, fellas, we can compete. We can compete with what might be the best team in the state of Georgia and a top 25 team nationally. Everything that we want to do is right here in front of us.
Richardson misses the free throw. Anderson will bring it across. Over to Drinnon for three.
And those are the types of plays you want to continue to make. Nice simple pass there. Anderson sees Drinnon in the pocket. Quick ball reversal there. Knocked down.
6 minutes, 33 seconds to work with. Richardson leaves that one short. Rebound pulled out of there, but not a wise outlet pass, or attempted outlet pass, I should say. Scoop and score for Augusta.
Tough play there. Walter showed on the edge, busted his behind to get back for the defensive rebound. Did a great job, and then threw the basketball away in a panic and in a hurry there. That's one of those you just want to tell the big man, just hold it. Just cradle it, man. Worst case, let him tie you up and get a jump ball there. We don't want to give it back to him right there underneath their own basket.
The defense on that play is they're able to really give Drinnon nowhere to go on the inside. Tried to get rid of it, but it was stolen. Here's Smith. Smith has it blocked by Anderson. Anderson unable to keep it in bounds.
Smith's going to be able to give Miller Grove some good minutes this year on the interior. Backing up Page, playing alongside Richardson. He gives them kind of a different dynamic, you know, especially in some of those nationally ranked games that they'll play in. Another capable body, as you saw the move he tried to make just there, but he's going to come with 5 fouls and a lunch pail and a work ethic.
The reverse, left short. One of those nationally ranked games would be against Robert Woodard and Columbus there in the Lighthouse Classic. Talked with Vince Overholt prior to this game tonight. Really looking forward to having Miller Grove there on the 27th and 28th of November.
That's a great event. Hate that I won't be able to attend this year. Was there last year, but they just do it right. What a great pass there from Gilbert as he leaves it to Smith. I'm telling you, when you watch games like this and you kind of get a feel, I think Smith for Miller Grove, Scott for East Jackson are two guys, and then obviously Walters as well. Guys that we weren't talking about at the beginning of the broadcast who've stuck out for different reasons. There's guys that can give them depth and energy. Maybe they're not going to emerge as top 3 headline guys, but they are going to have the depth and the ability to give them some minutes as they get into late in the postseason in the springtime.
Smith got that rebound in traffic, now over to Gilbert. Gilbert gonna stop and pop. Money.
You know, this guy, assuming he stays healthy, man, he has put himself in as good a position as any guard in the country to be a 2-game All-American. Like I said, was at USA Basketball, Frank Jackson, who's going to Duke, you name it, and they were out there. And as you would expect, Gilbert didn't back down from anybody.
Makes it 60-77. So we approach the 4-minute mark.
Well, and another point on Gilbert now, too, you start to talk about potentially Mr. Georgia basketball, Marcus. You know, is it him? Is it Kobe Simmons? Jared Harper from Pebblebrook? Can he emerge as the dark horse? If he has performances like he had this summer, what's going to happen there? We take a look at one of the guys in that race and the smooth pull-up. Great read. Defender doesn't commit. I got you one from 17, man. Take that.
Alterique, no need to speak. Gilbert doesn't say much out on the floor, just lets the box score do the talking for him.
Well, it was really, like I said, interesting early to see him hit that shot and turn and look. You know, he's not a guy that says a lot about anything. As you see, once again, that action with the post feed, that straight line direct post feed. Great read there by Gilbert. They initially took it away with the help, brought it back, were able to send the guard through, and then he had a clear path to make that entry feed there to Frank Smith.
Now, we talked about there are no moral victories, but I think if they lose this game, their student section can have one. Not a lot of student section get a response or anything verbal from Alterique Gilbert. I think they got one earlier. That's a good enough moral victory to have, man, if you're a student section.
Agreed. If you're the student section, you got to feel good about it, man. Just get you fired up for the rest of the season. And as for Boyd and for East Jackson, like I said, this is one you take in your pocket, and you're able to teach all year long off of this game, and really for the next couple of years. You are sitting here playing against what you want to become, and you're competing to the point where everybody leaves this gym knowing it's not far away. And that's exactly what you want here. If you can't get a win, you'll take that and just go back into the lab and keep working.
Aiden Saunders checks back in for Miller Grove. 3 minutes, 53 seconds remaining here in the fourth.
Well, and that's a young man right there. We talked about Smith. That's somebody I want to see more and more of as the year goes along. Continue to assert himself and really become that third scorer for them.
Jackman misses. Smith eating glass inside. He's going to shoot 2 from the line.
He's good. Good feet, good size there on the interior. Nice soft touch on his jumper. Even the free throw's soft, man. I love it.
Now, you saw when Gilbert made that pass to him a few possessions ago, man, having that confidence in him to be able to knock it down.
No question. Yeah, Gilbert doesn't throw that post feed if you can't play. Let's make sure we state that loud and clearly for the broadcast. Smith taking the charge on Lamont Smith.
Smith connection there on that one. Smith showing the touch on one end here. You see him stepping in there in plenty of time.
Oh, what a great play. Body right where it's supposed to be. You talk about sacrifice, man. And teaching point on the other end now. Sharman White, Miller Grove. Hey, listen, fellas, we are the hunted. They brought us up here to do everything they could to try to get this W. We got to make sure we show them why we're the top dog. Alterique Gilbert with under 4 minutes left, still showing them why he's one of, if not the best player inside the state of Georgia this year.
Got the game in hand at this point. Some of those take that with you points, like that last one knocked down by Gilbert.
Gilbert playing with the basketball here. Oh. Would have had the crowd both sides. Both Miller Grove and East Jackson would have been buzzing if he'd have been able to knock that one down.
He's gonna stay on the floor. Colin Young comes back in. We take a look at that last CBA Sports instant replay.
Man, in and out. Look at the space created. And young kids out there watching, the space he creates with a single step. He didn't need 10 dribbles and left to right and shake, 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 shake. In and out with his left, stepped with his right, came back to square, and took the jumper.
That foul going to be called against Miller Grove.
Boy, do you think Miller Grove's bench isn't over here competing? Do you think they're not over here competing? Up 19 with 2:31 left in the scrimmage, and you got coaches. Sharman White is pleading for the charge call. His assistant pleading for the charge call. That's going to be 5 on Jackman in the process. But if you think that these guys weren't fired up for this game the same way that East Jackson was, y'all can forget that. You see Drinnon with the move there, the attack. Jackman would look like the identical play to Frank the Tank Smith. Put his body in the line. He's just not as big as Frank, man. He didn't sell it as well. Frank sold that thing.
If Jackman fouls out, and he's smart enough to stay on the floor as long as he can for his team, but he doesn't mind using those fouls at all.
At all. Here's Young. Open jumper, and you'll live with that one if you're White. That's going to go in more times than not this year.
Jackson won't get it to fall. Pass ahead to Hardy.
Well, it's interesting. You're watching both coaching staffs continue. They're coaching the game. They're coaching the bench. I look over and Sharman White is locked in. David Boyd's over there coaching his staff a second ago. So there's going to be a lot of takeaways. All these people are worried about what occurs in early March here inside the state of Georgia.
Man, on the sideline, this is a Milton Miller Grove throwback.
Yes.
In terms of the way both coaches are coaching.
Yes.
Obviously, 2 different squads out on the floor as Augustin knocks down a triple.
There's so much talent there. Great shot there by Augustin. That's a guy that we're going to talk about this year from an Atlanta Tip-Off Club perspective, I'm sure, as a potential first-team guy. You see Anderson hit that 3 and immediately go to the ground.
And you hope it's just a cramp, worst case scenario. You don't want it to be anything, but with the way he's going down, that's what you hope it is. Nothing major.
Well, you saw him look. One of his teammates said, "Are you all right?" And he just kind of gave him that nod, like, "Yeah, man, I'm cool, man. I can't walk right now." He almost cramped a minute ago. Saw him on the baseline fall and saw him give it a little grab. This has been a long game for Heave, for Drinnon. You know, in an increased role, Anderson obviously played great minutes last year at Holy Innocents. But like I said, this stage is a little different. You know, you've been preparing for a couple of days mentally. You've been thinking about it for weeks. But for a couple of days, since probably late Thursday, even Friday last week, you've been thinking about this game. So the hype factor's there. Not sure how well the guys, especially the guys wearing white, slept last night. The Miller Grove guys, they're used to this thing. They probably slept just fine. A couple of them might have slept today in class a little bit. As you see the Gainesville coaching staff sitting across from us, taking it all in, led by Benji Wood. Joffrey Pierce, Grayson head coach in the building.
Saunders can't get it to go off the window, tipped around. And Miller Grove comes up with another offensive rebound. Just nothing but purple around the glass right now.
They just play so hard, man. You know, even after the miss there by Mason, they got a person waiting there in Young right there on the glass. This has been just an impressive performance from start to finish from a really, really good basketball team. Missed shot there by Holman, but Holman's going to be a guard to watch. Keep an eye on that young fella. He's just a freshman. Tons of potential, especially as they get into the region's schedule after the first of the year and all that. Quick little running sub here for David Boyd.
While he subs, let's take a look at the Atlanta Peach Elite Series, which kicks off this weekend with the Lady Blue Tip-Off Classic there on the girls' side of things. Then from the 14th stop, we've got the Verizon Hoops Floor Cure, Kim Colvin, halftime sports. Great job with that. The Jared Cook Classic, a great lineup. Coach Gardner over there in North Gwinnett. Holiday Hoops Giving, a lot of great in-state and out-of-state matchups in that one. The On the Radar Hoops Invitational by our colleague Sean Williams, also with some great matchups. We'll touch base on the rest of the list on our next time out.
That's a great list, man. I mean, it's a who's who of the top events here inside the state, in addition to always quality national coverage, you know, both from our staff from a scouting perspective, but then also the broadcast with the SUVtv.
2 steps and an easy lay-in there for Wilson. And just in case you thought the defense would stop, they're waiting until 3 zeros are on the clock.
No, we're coaching everybody out here, man. Sharman White might start coaching the managers in a second. Trying to pass the water out a little differently, man.
Coach is trying to tell him hold, but
hey, Seal said, I'm getting this bucket, Coach.
Sorry.
We made this ride from Lithonia. I'm going to get me a bucket on the way out of here.
I didn't see it, Coach.
Hey, and y'all better count that.
Coach, I didn't see it. So that is going to do it here on site from the beautiful East Jackson High School Gymnasium. You see Alterique Gilbert, valiant effort from the Eagles, but he's been doing this for a while.
That boy tough, man. Like I said, he's played his way into everything, you know, in terms of earning what he's done. Try to get him here on the microphone in just a second, Marcus. Sean, hey. Ladies and gentlemen, our player of the game, Alterique Gilbert. It looked like you came out to set a message tonight, man. We talked about the fact that you don't say a whole lot. I noticed you say something to the student section to give them a little look over there, man. Talk to us about that.
I was just hearing a lot of stuff coming from the stand. I just gave him a look a little bit.
Nah, that was good, man. Well, in your play, even back to USA Basketball, where we had a chance to connect out there, talk to us about what you've been working on the past 6 months, this whole offseason.
Just being a better leader, being more vocal on the court. As a point guard, you got to be an extension of the coach on the court. So I'm just working on things like that, trying to get everybody better.
That's awesome. Talk to us about UConn, man. Why UConn? Why Coach Ollie?
I just felt like it was a great opportunity for me come in right away and play and learn from the best, in my opinion.
That's awesome, man. Give us a goal for the season. Obviously a state championship for the team, but individually, what's something that you would like to accomplish here before March comes and goes?
I'd just like to accomplish, like you said, a state championship. Maybe getting to New York, getting on that McDonald's list, things like that.
Now tell us what's in New York. What's in New York, man?
Dick's Sporting Goods.
That's awesome, man. The High School National Invitational, for those of you who don't know at home. Alterique Gilbert, player of the game. Great job, young fella.
Thank you.
And that'll do it for our broadcast. As always, Brandon Clay, Any Gym is Home.